into July, and it's recruiting season. And we'll start there. So we've got Aaron Thomas on the board, an offensive tackle, of course, a position of great need for everyone. His father played at Florida State. He's out of Arizona. Kevin, your thoughts about this pickup?
I think it's a big pickup. I mean, I think any pickup they get on the offensive line, especially at tackle, is a huge get. It's the fourth lineman that they've got in the class, the second player out of the state of Arizona on the offensive line, and joining Tucker Smith. So, there's no question with Aaron Thomas, every bit of 6'7", 300. I mean, there's probably somebody out there, are you sure he's not 6'6" and a quarter? Well, no, I've not stood next to him, so I don't have a measuring tape or anything like that. But a lot of times you watch footage of these guys, and it's like, he's a tweener. Is he a guard? Is he a tackle? I mean, Aaron Thomas is a tackle. Now, we did see DeJuan Jones play guard a little bit at Ohio State just to get him on the field. So never say never when it comes to a 6'7" big body like that. But Thomas is 100% a tackle, in my opinion. Really, really kind of a dicey recruitment down the stretch. It looked like A&M might swoop in there at the last second and pull him away. But Ohio State, to its credit, was able to hang on. Now, if you spend any time on the socials, you would understand we're big mad at recruiting right now. It's not going well. And we'll get to that in a minute. But let's not forget that since we did the last show, 3 kids have committed to Ohio State, and I think all of them have tremendous upside, including Thomas.
Yeah, I like where you're coming from there. 6'7", 300 pounds. If Tyler Bowen believes he's got the athletic ability to play the offensive tackle position, I think you have to go with it. His ranking is not real high. He's the number 50 offensive tackle, number 439 nationally in the 24/7 Sports Composite. So national top 500 player, and you're going to have some of those type players in your class. He made visits here recently to Washington, Florida State, Texas A&M, and Ohio State, and ended up picking the Buckeyes. So I think all of that is a good sign, obviously. And again, Tyler Bowen tried to put his imprint on the offensive line with Ohio State and get his guys in there. And you got to do it with a blend of transfer portal and incoming freshmen. And Aaron Thomas, I don't want to say he's a project, but I think they're gonna work with him, and hopefully by his second or third year, he'll be pushing, for playing time.
Let's not forget, too, being in Arizona, LaCharles Bentley is in Arizona now with his line camp. Both he and Smith, Thomas and Smith have been working with LaCharles. I don't get too caught up in offensive line star ratings and things of that. And I know we all work in this industry of where you got to serve both masters. You got to be like, oh, pump the brakes on this. But on the other side, it's like, but they're really important as well. But offensive line, most difficult position by far to predict. I've seen 5-star busts on the offensive line. I've seen 2-star, and always in the draft. Oh, he was no star. No, he was not 0 stars. He was just not rated. They never put a rating on him. It's not like, oh, this kid sucks, we're going to give him 0 stars. That is one that drives me insane. I get so angry when I hear that stuff. But as for Thomas, I think it's a case of, should he be pushing for the top 10 tackles in the nation? No, I'm not saying that. But what's the difference between number 30 and number 50 and number 60? It's really hard. You're really trying to, I think, make comparisons that are difficult to make there. I mean, it's not like he's got, his first step is just terrible, and that's why we've dropped him. I just think it's just a numbers game at some point.
And I got to think that potential is baked into those numbers to a certain extent. If a guy is somewhat possibly reached his ceiling because he just doesn't have the body type or frame to reach another level versus another guy that at 6'7", 300, I don't think we would be surprised, any of us, if that rating based on the Ohio State commitment and based on other factors is going to get much better over the next 6 months or so. Robert, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for the contribution. Robert says, thanks, guys, for doing this every week. We all appreciate you. Thank you, Robert. We'll move on to the next commit. We'll hit the defensive line for the next two. We got Damari Simeon out of New Jersey. The numbers in regards to stats that I gathered aren't going to wow anyone that you expect a defensive lineman in high school to dominate if he's going to go to Ohio State. But he's the third-rated player in the state, 28 tackles, 6 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, and a pick in his 24-25 season there. But Texas, Michigan, Penn State, his last official visits, Kevin.
Yeah, once again, people are going to sit there and, 3-star heaven or whatever. Don't fall into the trap. Don't fall into the trap there. Talented kid. This is Damari Simeon, not to be confused with Simeon Caldwell, the commitment out of Jacksonville for Ohio State. So, he's a 3-tech. I mean, he's going to be a 3-tech for Ohio State, in my opinion. I mean, just based on the size, he's not a 1. But, you kind of see what he is. And everybody, if you're going to be outside, everybody, I'm an edge. Well, he's a defensive lineman, which generally means that he's going to be a tackle. I think that this is a good value pick at this point. I mean, again, you don't have necessarily all this room to play with. We were promised at 105 scholarships, it was just going to be Shangri-La for recruiting. But that's, I think we all knew that was never going to be the case. But Ohio State has done a good job of recruiting in the state of New Jersey, and you just look at the teams that were in on Simeon, and I think at that point you realize that maybe he wasn't the number 44 defensive lineman, but you look at the composite, which Mark has up here for us, 201. I think anybody inside of the 250, you got to feel pretty good about. So there seems to be a disconnect between the 247 traditional rankings and the composite rankings. Apparently some other people out there like Simeon may be better than some of the rankers at 247. Regardless, the rankers that like Simeon that matter in this one are Ryan Day and Larry Johnson and Matt Patricia, and they accepted his commitment.
Yeah, I also like Damari Simeon. Again, they're going into New Jersey where they are mining talent out of there like it's going out of style. The composite has him at number 201 national, number 26 defensive lineman, whereas 24/7 Sports, the network individually, has him as the number 44 defensive lineman and in projecting as an interior defensive lineman, 6'3", 275, now probably going to play bigger than that this fall. And your direct competitors were all over this guy. Texas, Penn State, and Michigan. Those were the places he visited in addition to Ohio State. He, like the last player that we talked about, Thomas, visited Ohio State June 20th, and this is the second commitment that they've gotten out of that weekend. So whatever was in the special sauce that Mark Pantoni cooked up that weekend of June 20th, keep doing it, because they landed at least a couple guys so far out of that weekend. And, July, I think you'll see some commitments. The coaches take turns taking some vacation time in July to get away before the start of preseason camp at the end of the month. So, the coaches will be in and out. Some of the players will have opportunities to get out and see schools unofficially and different things as well. So, yeah, it's a busy time. I don't know that it's the busiest time for recruiting of the season, but for kids who want to get this out of the way before they put the pads on August 1st, get their future locked up,